Welcome to today's coverage of business management and organization behavior. Today's topic is organizational commitment and the issues affecting it.
What is organizational commitment?
Organizational commitment is an employee's desire to remain at their job and a member of their organization. There are three types of commitment: effective, continuance, and normative. Effective commitment is the emotional attachment to an organization. It is an employee's feelings about the atmosphere, their co-workers, and enjoyment at their job. Continuance commitment is the cost-based reasons for staying employed. It consists of salaries, promotions, and the opportunity costs for switching jobs. Normative commitment is the feeling of obligation to your employer. Maybe they gave you your start in the industry and you feel indebted to them. The three can be summed up in a few phrases. Effective commitment is staying because you want to. Continuance commitment is staying because you need to. And normative commitment is staying because you feel you ought to.
What are withdrawal behaviors?
Withdrawal behaviors are actions an employee does to avoid engaging in their workplace. Physical withdrawal is the physical absence from work, such as tardiness, long breaks, missing meetings, absenteeism, and habitually quitting. Activities such as tardiness, being late to or leaving early from work, usually means an employee wants to spend less time there.
I don't like my job, and I don't think I'm gonna go anymore.
You're just not gonna go?
Yeah,
Won't you get fired?
I don't know. But I really don't like it, and I'm not gonna go.
So you're gonna quit?
Nuh-uh, not really. I'm just gonna stop going.
Psychological withdrawal is the mental absence from work. This includes things like daydreaming, socializing, looking busy, moonlighting, and cyberloafing.
Would you walk us through a typical day for you?
Yeah.
Great.
Well, I generally come in at least 15 minutes late. I use the side door. That way Lumberg can't see me. And after that, I just sort of space out for about an hour. Till I'm finished.
Space out?
Yeah, I just stare at my desk. But it looks like I'm working. I do that for probably another hour after lunch, too. I'd say in a given week, I probably only do about 15 minutes of real, actual work.
What is the relationship between organizational commitment and withdrawal behaviors?
How are the two connected? There's an inverse relationship between the two. An employee who is highly committed to their organization tend to not engage in withdrawal behaviors. On the other hand, an employee who is not committed to their organization partake in numerous withdrawal behaviors. What are the four primary responses to negative events at work? There are four primary responses to negative events at work: exit, voice, loyalty, and neglect. Exit is when an employee attempts to remove themselves from the negative situation. One would exit by either leaving the organization entirely or just being absent from work. When an employee actively seeks out to attempt to improve a negative situation, that would be exercising voice. Hoping for a better outcome by grinning and bearing it out is considered loyalty. Loyalty is defined as a passive, constructive response that maintains public support for the situation while the individual privately hopes for improvement. Last but not least, neglect. Neglect is a destructive response where an employee's interests and effort decline, and it is not easily as noticed as exit.
What workplace trends are affecting organizational commitment in today's organizations?
Workplace trends are affecting organizational commitment in today's organizations. Organizational commitment is being changed by two big factors: increased diversity and the shift of the employee-employer relationship. These trends are increasing withdrawal behaviors and altering commitment. Workforce diversity has increased in the United States. Women have matched men in the workforce, with men and women making up 53% and 47% of the workforce respectively. The workforce is also aging. There are a growing number of baby boomers who are expected to actively work past the expected retirement age. This is the result of uncertainty of Social Security funding and uneasiness of the stock market-based retirement funds. So older people find it easier to remain in the workforce. These employees, older and more diverse, could find themselves on the fringe of their workplace communities. They could feel marginalized, and that would lower their effective commitment. Foreign-born employees are likely to feel less embedded and find fewer links to their community, resulting in lowered continuance commitment. How can organizations foster a sense of commitment among employees? Employers can help foster commitment by being supportive. This can help an employee's perceived organizational support. This reflects their belief that the organization values their contributions and cares about them. Employers can do this by offering rewards, improving work conditions, and minimalizing political impacts in the workplace. Beyond support, organizations can target specific commitments using different practices. To help with effective commitment, an organization can offer team building exercises and more corporate events. They could start a company sports team or have employee appreciation activities.
This footage is from a 2016 IBM Sports Day Out event. The employees competed in team sports that helped improve their leadership, dedication, and effective commitment.
These actions will help improve commitment to one another and the organization. To enhance continuance commitment, organizations should create a salary and benefits package for employees. This will create a financial incentive to stay. For normative commitment, the organization should provide different training and development opportunities for employees. This will create a sense of fulfillment and make them feel more indebted to their organization. For normative commitment, the organization should provide different training and development opportunities for employees. This will create a sense of fulfillment and make them feel more indebted to the organization. Here are some testimonials from people who have experienced both organizational commitment and withdrawal behaviors firsthand.
Some of the examples of withdrawal behavior I experienced were neglect and exit. For example, one time at work, me and the manager, we had gotten into like a little argument, nothing serious, but instead of escalating that, I decided to exit the situation and tell him I'll come back again another day and start all over. And another example is neglect. Sometimes on the job, your mind just don't be there. So sometimes my mind drift off and I think about other things. I'm not as efficient as I should be at work, and that's a sign of neglect.
Whenever people don't show up to work for their shift, then it causes everyone else to have to stay later or to do more work.
Some withdrawal behaviors I've experienced would be daydreaming and definitely looking busy. A lot of menial work gets boring.
There is a lot of turnover that occurs at my job just because we have a lot of college students, and when they graduate, they leave. And then another one is socializing, because we like to talk about professors, and we just like to talk about our classes, and we especially like to talk about Royle.
I experienced more along the lines of psychological withdrawals, daydreaming, trying to look busy, along those lines. I don't try and do the physical withdrawals because I know those can harm you pretty bad, so more of the psychological withdrawals.
I've experienced both psychological and physical withdrawal behaviors, so I've definitely been daydreaming. Sometimes you'll cyber loaf. Certain jobs I've had let you be on the computer, so once you do that, you can kind of go on other things. And everybody's tardy or kind of has an absentee point, so I've experienced both, which are kind of bad.
What type of withdrawal behavior have I experienced at work? I quit a job because they had me working hours that interfered with my schoolwork and going to classes, so they wouldn't accommodate me, so I just left.
One of the commitments I experienced was effective commitment. When I was working at my job, my first job, The environment was good. The coworkers were friendly, managers. It was at an amusement park, so it was a friendly environment. It was never a stress at work. You never really had to worry about, okay, my manager this, my manager that. So if I didn't have school right now and I was still there, I would still be working there to this day.
I've experienced effective commitment. I used to work at a daycare with all of my friends from high school, and I didn't want to quit because I wanted to stay working with my friends, but I didn't necessarily like the work hours.
Commitment, I would definitely be affective because I worked with a close family friend and all of my coworkers are really cool people we had a good connection with.
Continuance is an example of one because like a lot of college students like the pay that we have because it's above minimum wage. So like a lot of them stay just because of the salary, and we do like a lot of raises. So a lot of kids like the pay raises. And then another one is affective commitment because we all like our boss, and our work is like a really great atmosphere. Everyone's nice to each other. All of the coworkers are very encouraging.
The most common I've experienced is affective commitment. I enjoy being around my coworkers, being involved with the organization, as well as having a bond outside of work with my coworkers. Might be going to eat or hanging out or whatever. I just enjoy doing what I do, so I look forward to it.
I've definitely experienced effective commitment. I had one job where I got really close to all of my coworkers, and we all started a group chat, and we all started hanging out more and tried to hang out after work, and we still talk to this day. So that was a very hard job to eventually leave, and it made me want to stay longer, and it makes me want to go back because I know that I have a lot of people there who I am very close to.
What type of commitment have I experienced at work? I would say effective because I met some of the best friends I've ever made working where I worked, and I just love the atmosphere and the boss in general. It was a great place.